This vape shop robbery went from bad to worse in seconds, but could it have been handled differently? Let's talk about it. What is up, guys? Will Workman here with Self-Defense Encounters, here to give you a real-world example of how to protect yourself. If you haven't yet, don't forget to like and subscribe down below so that we can get this content past the algorithm. All right, so let's watch this one unfold and talk about it as we go. So this is in a vape shop, and the guy behind the counter here looks like he's kind of serving as the clerk and armed security. He's got a security vest on and he's armed. These guys are gonna kind of surround the counter, and let's watch what happens. It gets pretty crazy. So these guys are just communicating with him. He looks like he feels kind of uncomfortable, and they're just kind of gonna surround the counter here. And you can see by his body language, he knows something's up. This guy comes up and pulls a gun, and right when he does, he draws his gun, and they just start shooting at each other, guys. A little bit of a different angle here, and you guys can see they're just falling over each other. They did not expect for him to start shooting back at them. They're both just winging shots at each other, just one-handed, not looking at the sights, absolutely panic shooting. You can see right here, there's actually two bad guys with guns. I want you to pay attention to the moment when the good guy draws his gun and goes to work here. So bad guy's gonna come up, draw his gun, stick it in his face. And to me, guys, it looks like he is hit in the head or hit in the ear when shots start flying, because he grabs the side of his head and just goes down in pain. Maybe he's just protecting his head, I don't know, but to me, that looks like he got hit somewhere in the head.
What was that? It can only be a bullet.
It's pretty easy most of the time for criminals to come in and stick a place up, especially if they've got masks covering their face, and get what they want and get out. Especially if you work at like an ABC store or a vape shop or a pawn shop or something like that, you get some kind of sketchy clientele anyway, so it's hard sometimes to know the difference between somebody that might just be high or crazy or somebody that really wants to hurt you. The next thing that we can learn here is you need to recognize when things aren't right. The clerk's body language here kind of show that he doesn't feel right about this situation in the beginning. I don't know if they're arguing with him or if they're trying to distract him, but you can tell he doesn't feel very comfortable, but he doesn't get his hand on his gun. He doesn't realize that he is being robbed for sure until there's a gun in his face. And hear me very clearly, this is why I hate open carry. What? Now, I am a Second Amendment absolutist. I think that open carry should 100% be legal, but I just don't think it's a good tactical decision. If you want to hear more about that, I did a full video on my other channel, Workman Protection. I'll link it at the end of this one. When you open carry in public like this, you lose the element of surprise. So what happens here is he can't wait his turn. He can't comply and choose to get down on the ground or put his hands up and move to the side and then surprise him with his concealed carry gun, because it's on display, it's open carried, it's not hidden. So they see it immediately. So if he does start to comply, the first thing they're gonna do is walk over and take that gun. The decision that he makes in that moment is to draw his gun. And because he hasn't got his hand on his gun yet, he still has to go for that gun, pull it out, and put his first shot on target. And guys, I'm just gonna say it, it's a miracle that he's still alive. This is not a great strategy. I understand that when you're in a situation like that, he's open carrying, they know he has a gun, he doesn't have much other opportunity other than to comply or maybe move. I think ducking behind the counter and then drawing the gun maybe, but he chooses to go for that gun first and just kind of duck down as he's drawing the gun. And like I said, it's a miracle that he's still alive. It's also a good idea to have two hands on the gun and to see where you're shooting. Just carrying a gun doesn't make you good at defending yourself. Sorry. We also need to think about who in this situation is a deadly threat. Now we see that only two of the robbers here have guns pointed at the clerk. Does that mean that the other ones are not a lethal threat? Not really, no, because they're all using those guns as a threat for the robbery. So they all could be considered lethal threat. Obviously, tactically, you want to go for the guy who's pointing the gun at you first. He also doesn't know if the other ones are armed or not. So I think it's completely fine for him to shoot at any of these guys. We see that he just kind of starts winging shots in all of their general direction. So once the smoke settles and they get out of there, guys, you need to have a trauma kit. You need to have it with you. At a bare minimum, guys, you need to have one in your car. It's a great idea to have one in a backpack if if you're working in a store like this or anywhere to just have with you. Because if you're in a situation like this where you have to use your gun, there's no guarantee that you're not gonna get hit. And if you're hit, you may need to deal with those injuries immediately. And a gun can be great to stop a threat, but a tourniquet may also be necessary to save your life. If you need a good trauma kit, you need to check out my friends over at Mountain Man Medical. My affiliate link is in the description down below. I think this guy was incredibly lucky. I think he did a pretty good job considering. So what would you have done differently? Let me know in the comments down below. Guys, thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe down below for more real world self-defense. We'll see you next time.